question from David in the chat about fentanyl, basically, because that's obviously a big issue. I think what I saw you say is that they obviously they manufacture and import fentanyl. The cartels, is that their new thing? Is that above cocaine?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, there's been a shift, a revolution in the drug thing in the last few years, from the plant-based drugs to synthetic drugs. So cocaine to crystal meth,
Yeah,
and heroin to fentanyl.
and that's purely just profit motives, nothing else.
It's profit driven, and there's, because you start putting pressure on, like, you're having, so making heroin, you have guys in the mountains growing the opium, and then the military can go in there, can spray the opium, or can go and rip up the fields. Then also you have to wait for harvests and stuff, and then you come down there, make that into a paste, and you come down, and you make it into heroin.
A huge process versus.
But then with fentanyl, stuff coming out of a lab, it's like very, very cheap to make. So I would say driven by profit. Now, I mean, is there some ulterior thing happening? Because fentanyl is so destructive. I mean, one thing that you get the kind of crazy hard line, maybe get some hard people say, oh, it's all a big plot by China and the cartels to kill us. But then you look into this, you go, well, I mean, this stuff is it's pretty dangerous. And what are the Chinese doing about this? You start to investigate this and you find things that doesn't quite add up. So
yeah.
But like,
so what are your personal? Because you probably have looked into this more than I guess.
Well, so what you get now is for a while the Chinese were the fentanyl was being made in China and just being taken into Mexico and then taken to the United States.
Yeah.
Under pressure from Trump, actually, China stopped making fentanyl, but then it makes the precursors. So it makes the precursors. They bring them into Mexico. They take them into the US. Now it just keeps on going up and up. The levels just keep on going up.
Yeah. And is that like a Chinese mob, or like like who in China is
Chinese? It seems to be pharmaceutical companies, and I don't know enough, or I haven't got deep enough into China.
Yeah.
So I'm based here, but you do see things like, for example, there was a sting recently where the DEA set up a fake. We want to buy some ingredients. We want to make fentanyl, and this guy was like, great. It was actually we did great. Yeah, we can help you make the fentanyl if you like. Yeah, we've got loads of people in Mexico and making fentanyl, and this was like a legitimate, supposedly, pharmaceutical company. And they said, okay, great, and they sent the money by Bitcoin. And the drug, the precursor was sent in, and they grabbed it. Now they then went to, we want some more, and let's go for a meeting in Fiji. They went for the meeting in Fiji. The pharmaceutical executives came from China, met up in Fiji, and then there was a sting. After they left, they got arrested and flown to Hawaii and put in front of a judge in Hawaii. Now, this is a little bit rendition.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is then the Chinese government came in quite aggressively, saying you can't arrest our citizens like that. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? This is a rendition. Right. Now, if again why would they bother making an effort to try and save these people that are this is killing a lot of Americans. So it is interesting, and I would think that a country as authoritarian as China could do more to try and stop this.
And so those executives, like, they're just back to running their pharmaceutical company, and they go, well, we're just selling precursors to these drugs, like we're not manufacturing them, essentially.
So it's interesting because they can say, well, we just these drugs can be. What the problem as well, once you get to the global pharmaceutical industry, I mean, it's creating all of these medicines all the time, and really what these opioids have come off that. Fentanyl was created and patented and has come out of the pharmaceutical industry. Now, because you have that now, but they can sort of say, well, we're just selling medicine. But what the DA did in this sting was they deliberately made them say in their emails, oh, we want this to make fentanyl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Great.
Yeah. And then they just do your thing or whatever. Is there a fentanyl issue in Mexico? Like in terms of the overdoses and all that stuff?
There's not much, but there is some in certain places. There's some in Tijuana, in Mexicali, in some of those border places where you start to see people, some of them because they've gone to the US, in the US got into fentanyl, been deported and brought it back to Mexico. Now, in some places, and it's very interesting, the cartels will ban the sale of fentanyl locally because they don't want fentanyl being sold where their kids go to school or where their own hitmen are. They don't want to lose their hitmen to it. Now, but other places like Tijuana, they say, well, is this too much of it on the streets now? We're going to sell it here. And there's a lot of overdoses. Crystal meth is becoming a big problem in Mexico, in various parts of Mexico.
Really? And why is that? Just because it's just a cheaper drug?
I think Mexico. I think you do see sometimes within different cultures, different proclivities for different drugs, and I think within, some cultures prefer uppers, some cultures prefer downers. I think here they'll go for uppers more, and.
But is it like that much cheaper than coke? Because I guess cocaine is an upper of it.
Cocaine is, they sell it on the street pretty cheap here. There's a lot of cocaine. You go to the north of Mexico. I've been up to these villages in the north of Mexico. An old man who's like 80 years old and he's still like doing cocaine and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And he's like, he gets it from the local shop. It's like literally the local grocery shop.
Like a pharmacy.
They're like bring out a drawer and have like this cocaine on offer. It's kind of crazy, bizarre stuff. Yeah.
But it's not legal there, obviously.
No, it's not. But there's a certain toleration of, but they don't really bother much going for, like, if they grab you with a couple of wraps, you might pay a bribe, but they're not. They're kind of, because they got such a.
They have like bigger fish to deal with, I guess.